Good evening, guys. It's Erin Chase again tonight with Andrea Deckard, and our other digital CoLab partner, Tony Anderson, is not here tonight because her husband came home from deployment today, so they are enjoying their time together as a family. And we are joined by our special guest tonight, Angela England. She is an extraordinaire. Let's see. She is the author of a couple ebooks, some self-published books, Making Money Blogging, Backyard Farming, Getting Prepared, The Unhouse Trained Wife Guide. I'm curious about that one. It's Erin Chase again. And I also know that she's published a couple print books as well. She owns several different websites, including The Untrained Housewife, as well as online magazines. And she recently launched a course about being an author, achieving those goals and dreams of writing a book and being a published author. In addition to doing all of these things, she is also a homeschooling mom of 5. So now you get the extraordinaire part of all of that. So I'm going to kick it over to Andrea to get the discussion going, and we'll go from here.
Hey Angela, thanks for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you and learn all about this new product that you have out.
Thank you.
But just to get started, we really wanted to, I know a lot of people are familiar with some of the products that you've created and some of the books that you've published, but if you could just give us a bit of a background in the publishing world, blogging world, professional blogging, all of that, that way our audience can really understand some of your experience.
Sure. I started out online doing content creation. I was working for a lot of different websites. I didn't even have a blog of my own at the time.
Sorry, carry on.
That's okay. And one of the things that I started to do as I became more successful in finding clients and making money online,
I can't hear any of this.
I had people asking me questions. So I started a blog just to answer people's questions on what I was doing to make money. And then after that, it just took off. I started speaking at conferences. I started creating ebooks. And then 2 years ago, right when I was pregnant with Vivian, I was like gigantic pregnant with my 5th baby, I got approached by an agent who had a specific book title in mind that the publisher wanted. And so I wrote my first print book, came out in December of 2012.
I can't hear anything she's saying.
And after that, I had my second print book and my self-published book that came out last year. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you fine. I think Erin's having technical difficulties, so Erin, mute your line so we can't hear what you're saying while she's talking. Go ahead, Angela, sorry.
Okay, no, that's okay. I just want to make sure everybody else can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you, so I think everybody else will be able to hear you.
Okay, good deal. Yeah, so, the blogging really contributed to the print book. The agent found me through my blog, through Untrained Housewife. And since then, of course, I've branched out on my own with the self-published books, which was a huge step because it's really making that transition, not just writing, but also being the publishing house as well. So that's a big transition for people to make. But it was stunning. The results for me were really fabulous.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I know the Backyard Farming book, I actually bought that. I haven't read it yet, but I know
it's huge.
I know, and we live on a small plot, so it's like, hey, it might be able to work for us. But
that's perfect.
Also just the ebooks and the new product that you have out tonight that we're going to talk about is something that I know you have a lot of experience in. You were the first person that I was aware of that wrote an ebook on how to write an ebook, basically. So it's definitely
very
something
meta
that
of me.
A lot of people can benefit from. So I guess
I think so.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I agree. I think that for a blogger to take it to the next level, a book is a really good way of doing that.
Right. If you had like one piece of advice for budding writers or even bloggers that are really interested in possibly writing an ebook or creating a product, what would that piece of advice be?
So there's a couple different things that come to mind. One is developing a habit of writing on a regular basis. a lot of bloggers, it's really easy to fall into the write when I feel like it kind of thing, or write when I'm not busy doing other things. If you're a writer and that's what you want to do, then you need to write. You know, you don't wait for that inspiration to come. You sit down at the computer and expect it to meet you when you're there. And I think that that's a really important distinction to make. The other thing is that if you are looking at doing a longer form work, not just a 500-word blog post, but an actual book, you need to think about how to format that in a very different way, because it's not just a short piece of writing that you're doing. You want to be able to carry that story and carry that overarching theme throughout an entire book, which is a little bit more difficult for some people to make that transition. So just, you know, start outlining, start thinking about even writing blogs in a series so that you're writing over a similar theme over multiple posts, very similar to the subsections that are in a nonfiction book.
That's really good advice. I know, you know, a lot of bloggers, probably some that are even listening to this chat tonight, I mean, they started as hobby bloggers, and so it might be hard for them to kind of build that behavior to do it every day when your livelihood doesn't always depend on it. But then when you realize that, you know, maybe it could depend on it, you kind of have to get the hustle going and make sure that you are writing every single day and sticking to it. So that's definitely great advice. And, you know, having an outline too, I'm guessing that would be beneficial. I know when I've done series in the past, I've had an outline of every single blog post that I wanted to include in that series, and then, you know, even taking that kind of content and putting it into an ebook could be valuable. So,
very much so. The table of contents is one of the first things that I have my students create when they're in the course. After we narrow down and really hone in on the topic, because topic is so important. You have to have a good topic with your book. But once they have that topic and they know what they want to cover, then the next step is to create that table of contents, because it serves as a guide and it's very motivational. When you have that stuck next to your computer and every day your goal is to cross something off, then you have that automatic, you never sit down and think, what am I going to write about now? You know, because the table of contents tells you.
Right. Erin, do we have you back yet?
Yes, I'm here. I'm so sorry. I had my mic settings all mixed up, so I apologize. I missed a good chunk of that, but I know it was wonderful.
Thankfully, it's recorded, so.
Yes, exactly. And that's, you know, that's one of the things that we've discovered, that I've discovered in just starting these live hangouts the last couple weeks, is everybody's very forgiving, and you know, we just go with the flow. So. Have you guys gone through a couple of the questions we had talked about already?
Yeah, we're
the number one.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump over. Let's jump on to. So, Angela, talk a little bit about. So, because you've done both, and I've done both, but I want to hear your perspective of self-publishing versus traditional. Of each of those.
Yeah, there's definitely benefits and there's downsides for each. And I really enjoyed backyard farming, being with a print book. The topic, it's in a really competitive niche. So there's a lot of homesteading books coming out right now, and backyard farming was more of a general title. It wasn't like, you know, how to raise chickens for eggs. It wasn't very focused. It was very general, an introduction to the lifestyle. So even though it's a huge book, it's like, come here, honey. It's like 432 pages long. It covers a broad variety of topics. This is how all of my writing happens. Here, have a drink. Yes. Real life here, folks. This is really how it happens at my house. Okay. Do you remember how we said that you're going to go talk with Daddy and you're going to snuggle with Dad? Good. Okay, go back in your room and snuggle with Dad now. Thank you, honey. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so traditional publishing house with a really general topic like that, it's actually more beneficial for you, because traditional publishing houses, they're aiming for mass market appeal. They want to move a lot of titles help you get to make your royalty payout. And what that is when you sign a contract for a traditional publishing house, if you're doing the traditional, you get some money up front and then you get royalties, that upfront payment is really just an advance. The reason it's called an advance, it's an advance on future sales. So they give you, say, $5,000, $10,000, whatever your number is. Most people don't get six figures like Stephen King. So let's say $5,000 is your advance. Then you get 10% royalties on the sales of your book until you reach at least 5,000 in the sales royalties of your book. You don't actually get any royalty payments, which is exactly why about 80% of authors never make royalty payments. They get their upfront amount, and that's all the money they ever see from their traditional published books that go through a legacy publishing house. The benefit is that a legacy publishing house, they have the big box stores, contracts, connections. They can get your book on the shelf in Hastings or Barnes & Nobles or Books A Million or whatever. I've seen my book, all of those places. Penguin Publishing House was able to put Backyard Farming into Sam's Club, which is not something that I could probably ever do with my self-published book unless I, win the lottery and make $1 million or something. And it's just not going to happen. But with a self-publishing book, like Getting Prepared, I wrote my second print book. I turned it in March, of 2012. I wrote Getting Prepared. I produced Getting Prepared. I launched it, and I sold my first 1,000 copies before that second print book ever came out in August of 2012. Because you can move so much faster with a self-published book. I've also, at this point, made more money from my self-published book than I did from my Getting Prepared, or my second print book, which was a work-for-hire piece, because the percentage that I keep from the sales of my self-published book are higher than the royalties that I would make on any of my print books. So there's definitely pros and cons. When you self-publish, one of the things that I talk a lot about in the course, and I really work with my students on, is finding that topic that's going to make you stand out. For example, if you're a blogger and you have a knitting blog, you don't want to write the ultimate guide to knitting, because anyone who's interested in knitting already has that book on their shelf. They have the Complete Idiot's Guide to Knitting. They have Knitting for Dummies. You're not going to be able to compete at that level. So you need to find a way of standing out, a way of being unique and bringing your own kind of cool twist and unique perspective on it. So maybe your thing is your, knit baby knit, 25 baby projects you can knit in a weekend. So you build in a promise, you give them a unique title, and you're saving them time and money, and that's going to make you stand out. You need to go see Daddy. You need to go see Daddy. Okay? Go see Daddy. Take that in your bedroom, please. I just gave away my Dr. Pepper for you guys. This is how into y'all I am.
We're so loved. Yes, thank you.
This is serious now. That's a hardcore crush.
Now, Angela, you have affiliate programs for a lot of your e-products, correct?
I do, yeah. One of the things that I did with both Making Money Blogging and 30 Days to Make and Sell a Fabulous ebook, which is the ebook that I put out in 2010 that kind of propelled this course, I created affiliate programs for them because, at the time, Amazon wasn't a thing. It wasn't as huge as it is now. Kindle was definitely not a thing. I don't even think Kindle existed when I wrote Making Money Blogging. And I wanted to be able to partner with people in a way that would reward them for their referrals and also, give me access to larger blogs or communities or other audiences that I wouldn't reach otherwise. So creating an affiliate program was really, really powerful for that. And, of course, at that point, you have to be providing a service or a product that has a high enough value where, they're not making like 99 cents for a sale. They're making enough money to make it worth their while. When I launched Making Money Blogging, I charged $25 for the book. It was just under 100 pages. It was super valuable information. I literally walked people through the process that I use to create content online that generated residual income that paid the mortgage on my house. So, I felt like I knew that I was providing value where if somebody followed the techniques that I was using, they would make money. And, so I was able to charge a higher price. And as a result, my affiliates made enough money where they felt like it was worth their while to share and spread the word. You can't do that with every topic and with every book. But if you can charge enough, then that's definitely an awesome way to do it.
Now, did you use your own affiliate program, or did you outsource that to like eJunkie or something?
Well, I originally looked into eJunkie, and I can't remember. One of them charges you by the month, so you pay per product per month. And then the other one, I think it's ClickBank, they charge you per product, one-time fee to look at the product and like assess it and approve it. And then they charge you a percentage of the sale. So you're almost getting taxed on making money, through their affiliate program, which is crazy insane to me. So I found a plugin. It's tips and tricks, tips-tricks. Headquarters, I think is. And anyway, they had an e-cart and an affiliate bundle, so I could install those two plugins and it would handle everything for me. For the course, because I was using a membership plugin through Copy Blogger, the premise plugin that they have, I had to go with a different affiliate program, but it's the same thing. I bought the program, one-time fee, paid for the plugin, paid for the software, and then I owned it forever. And you're allowed to use it on multiple websites. You can have multiple products through it, and then you just pay the one-time fee, and it manages all your affiliate stuff for you.
Right.
There's pros and cons. If you're with eJunkie and someone has already signed up with eJunkie, they might not even know who you are, but they do a search for your product and they find your affiliate program. So there's a potential benefit there. The downside, of course, is that it's not a platform that you own, so you're renting the space from someone else on a monthly or per sale basis.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with the WPE store and the affiliate plugin. I personally.
Yeah, that's the bundle that I had first.
And I know Aaron's used it. I think they might even have like a membership section to it too, but I believe in owning it yourself as well. You still have an administrative overhead with paying your affiliates and managing customer service, but you can even outsource that to a VA. So it's not like it's that much extra if you really are smart.
Right. And if your cash flow is limited, then you own it. Then that's just the one-time investment that you have to make. It's really easy to track that, and you're not getting that, cash, that percentage taken out of every sale.
Right.
Oh, at some point you need to start making that money back for yourself so you can reinvest that into your own business.
That's right.
I'm a huge fan in personal control too, so I'm with you there.
We're control freaks.
I wasn't going to say it.
I wanted to ask too, Angela, if you I know that you go over this in your e-course that you'll share a little bit more later, but and you talk about the affiliate program, how much of that is your, in one of the pros and cons too with the publishing house, as you said, versus the self-publishing is the publishing house will provide you with a publicist and a marketing, intern or somebody who helps with marketing and those things. And when you're doing self-published, you don't have that extra support. You are your own marketer, right? So how much of the affiliate program would you say is part of your marketing plan? And I don't want you to give too much away from your e-course, but if you could just talk about that, and how that's important.
Yeah, so, it's funny because I really thought that being with a major publishing house would provide me like all of this marketing support. And what I found is they gave you marketing materials, but they did not necessarily give you a marketing strategy. I still had to pretty much do it myself and plan my book launch myself and give them the names to send to the reviewers. And then we had this whole debacle where the warehouse back-ordered my book to fulfill orders, which was good. I mean, I'm glad that they were sending my books to paying customers, but they back-ordered my reviewers, but they didn't tell me. They didn't tell my publicist office, so then she didn't know, but she didn't think to double check. So, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to go on air, and the day before the radio interview, the radio, assistant guy calls me and is like, "We haven't gotten your book yet." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't have the book yet?" And by then it was 10 hours before I'm supposed to go on air. It was way too late to find out that my book had been backordered. But I passed that on to the person I'm supposed to pass it on to. Well, a major publishing house, there's multiple layers of hoops to jump through. So she passed it on to her assistant, who passed it on to the warehouse, and then 3 people down the line, my order got canceled, and that never got back to me. I had zero control over that whatsoever. Like, it was highly frustrating. Whereas with my self-published book, when I want someone to get the book, I send them the book, and I know that they got it because I send it to them. So there's that element. The other thing that was really interesting, because I did 2 print books back to back, and also launched a self-published book all in the same last 18-month period. My daughter was born December of 2011, and by July of last year, so 18 months, almost exactly 18 months, I wrote and launched 2 print books and a self-published book. It's insane. Don't try that with 5 kids. And
I get it.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Just a little bit crazy, yeah. But what I discovered is that the print book, where I had a royalty payment in place, so I was invested in promoting the book, it has almost 100 reviews on Amazon. The print book, that was a work for hire piece, so I was kind of like, turn it in, cash my check, done. It has 2 reviews on Amazon. So yes, they were in charge of marketing that book, but you can tell how much of the book, what a difference there is in the book that I promote actively and the book that I don't. There's a huge difference in sales rank, in the number of reviews, in the number of blog posts and links talking about it, and people sharing about the book. It's astonishing. And what that showed me is that the publisher has their baseline level that they do, and it's up to you to push it to the next level as the author. And if I'm going to do that, I might as well do that for a book where I'm keeping a greater percentage, So,
right.
I
mean, everybody's experience is going to be different. Mine was wildly different from that, but
that's interesting, yeah.
In a better way. But I think what the lesson is do your research. Have your if you're going through a literary agent, or if you're working with if you're doing negotiations with yourself, if you have those connections with the publishing house,
yeah.
Find out what support they're going to give you. Find out how many hours of a publicist you're going to get, how many media hits that they're going to go after. I mean, get all of that information ahead of time to help you make the decision on which house to go with. Because that was one of the things that I was aggressively asking before signing, years ago. Because and I'm very grateful for all the support that they gave,
right.
And it was really great. So I think in thinking about marketing, ask all the questions you can possibly think to ask about what they're going to do, and also know that, and I think that authors are responsible for promoting their own, things on their platforms. But yeah, it's kind of one of those, it's almost, catch-22 is not the right thing, but, which of these is going to be, this book could blow up if it's got the support from a great marketing strategy from a really solid publishing house, and you
right.
can make a lot more, or this book over here that's self-published that you keep everything maybe minus affiliate cuts is going to blow up as well. You almost don't know.
It's very true.
Up on its own with your own, marketing and affiliate program, or it could, from the publishing house, they could hit, a huge national media win for you or something like that. So that's really tough to know. So let's see.
Right, and not everybody has the ability or desire to be really, I don't know if aggressive is the right word, but to think about things like coordinating a blog launch, or producing the book, editing the book, how to design the cover art. Those are things that a publishing house will take on for you. There are lots of authors who, for very good reason, they just want to write the pretty words, send it to somebody else, and in 6 months they open a cardboard box with their book inside, and that's all they ever want to do. In that case, that's not somebody who should ever self-publish, because there's so much more to self-publishing than just writing the book. And if you're not willing to take on the role of being a publishing house for yourself, then you shouldn't self-publish. I mean, because you just won't do a very good job. Your book will be underrepresented, it'll hurt your reputation, and you're going to be disappointed with the results. A lot of it comes down to your personality or skill set or desire to take that on for yourself. I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying.
No, that's perfect, and I think we're closing in here on 8:30 my time. I know it's
Okay.
9:30 on the East Coast. So, do you want to take a couple minutes before we wrap this up, just to talk a little bit about the e-course and what the different pieces of it and how it would help someone who is an aspiring author?
Yes. So I think if somebody wants to self-publish a book, I mean, like we just said, it's not for everyone. There's definitely pros and cons. I really like having control over the design elements, over the timetable. I can produce a book so much faster, crazy fast, and it's that kind of thing, especially when you're passionate about a message and you want to get it out. The thing that you want to do is make sure that you're doing that in the right way. I spent 6 years learning how to do this. And, I had ebooks, my first 2 ebooks that I put out, I launched them simultaneously, which that was mistake number 1 because my focus in promoting them was greatly divided. I had no clue how to choose a good topic. I had no clue about cover art. Oh my gosh, I share the cover of one of my first ebooks in the course. And then I brought in my graphic designer to do a expert guest presentation as a bonus for like 10 mistakes in ebook covers and how to avoid them. And she used that ebook cover as 2 of the 10 mistakes as a bad example. So, you can learn the hard way like I did, or you can walk through this course where I show you. And not only, one of the things that I really like about this course, a lot of the writing courses that I've seen or bought or been part of, they teach you how to write a book, or it's like how to make $1 million on Kindle. So it's like gaming the self-publishing system, which is only sustainable for so long. Or it's like how to market your book, assuming that you already have a book. So you kind of have to like get all of these different things. Well, the course that I produced is like in the similar way that I did the 30-day ebook, how to make and sell a fabulous ebook. I take people through the entire process. So we start with how to find a good topic that you're actually going to be able to share with people and will kind of help you sell the book, because you want that topic, something that's going to catch their attention, something that's going to create curiosity and interest in the reader, potential reader. How to produce it. So now you're producing the book, you're directing the editing, you're directing the graphic design, the formatting. Do you have all the elements in place? I have seen terrible ebooks where people literally cut and paste blog posts that still had the byline and the date of the post publication and how many comments there were on the post at the time the person cut and pasted it into a PDF and called it a book. It was terrible. None of my students will ever do that because I'm going to whip them into shape. And, from there, then I have several modules that cover different marketing strategies. One of the lessons where I talk about how to break into print magazines and write, feature articles for magazines. I used those techniques after Backyard Farming was produced through the spring and summer only, just 6 months, and I made enough money to, pay the cost of the course 3 times over, promoting my book. It was, it's super cool. So, that's something that's left out of a lot of how to write a book courses out there. I also talk about how I approached my local news stations and started doing news segments, and how to get interviews and guest posts, and how to approach people respectfully to ask them to review your book or be part of your book launch, and all of those kinds of things that I think you can find piecemeal all over the internet. I mean, those resources are certainly out there, but having it all in one place, walk you through step by step. Lesson 1, do this. Lesson 2, think about this. It's really helpful. And the other cool thing is I'm able to partner with some expert guests. I have Tim Grahl, who is a publicist, the founder of Outthink Group. They've worked with several best-selling authors, New York Times, like Dan Pink, Pam Slim, Hugh Howey, who's a self-published author on the New York Times bestseller. He's doing an interview in a couple of days with us on, how to sell your first 1,000 copies and how to break that barrier. I call it the 250 barrier. The average self-published author only sells 250 copies of their book. and that's average. So, what are they doing wrong? All of the books that I've launched in the last 6 years, I've sold 1,000 copies or more. So how do I do that? How are we making that happen for ourselves? How can we break through these barriers of mediocrity and being average? And that's really what the course is about. It's about empowering people to take their message out into the world and reach people in a way that's going to impact lives. Because so many of us, the reason we started a blog is because we have something exciting to share with the world. And if we can do that in a way that's going to reach people beyond just our blog, then we're just taking everything to the next level, and that's so exciting to me. Y'all got me started.
Now we're out of time.
I know.
Yeah, so that is all the time that we have. We'll definitely leave a link to Angela's course in the invite or in the video here so people can see that, because I do think it'd be extremely valuable, not only for what you shared today, but you've been there, done that, and you did mention, like, yeah, you can piecemeal it from across the internet, but you still don't get that experience from those people that are talking about it, because some of that's hypothetical, and I want somebody who's experienced to teach me that. So I definitely think that it sounds like an amazing course. So we'll leave that link below, and if anybody has any questions on it, then I'm sure Angela will respond.
Yeah, ask questions, and I'll respond in there. And there's some perks. We have the exclusive Facebook group, monthly calls with me, so they get one-on-one coaching. I'll stay on the line as long as people still have questions, and it's a way for people to kind of get their hand held through the process instead of trying to swim through the currents on their own.
Right. Okay.
Well, very cool, Angela. Thanks for joining us tonight. I think, the course sounds amazing. I love the concept of the extra accountability and coaching and having you there. I think that is crucial, and just having someone, helping you and keeping you on track with where you should be in the process. So just thanks again for joining us. We will have more information about Angela's e-course for achieving your publishing dreams on Digital CoLab and in the video and Google Plus page. So thanks again so much to Andrea and to our special guest tonight, Angela, and we will be back again next week. Tony maybe will be joining us. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what their family's plans are after her husband's returning home. So thanks a lot for being here tonight, guys, and thanks for catching the recording later. Everyone, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.